morning, Charlene. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning, Andrew.
So, a few things we're going to get into today. I know you own Search by Burke. You've owned it for how long now?
About 6 years, actually. It was June of '08 when I officially started the business.
Oh, neat. And what got you kind of into starting Search by Burke?
Oh, well, how about 20 years of wanting to own my own business and not a combination of things that prevented me from starting. One of the first things was identifying exactly the kind of business I wanted to own. I reviewed franchises, brick and mortars. I knew retail inside and out and knew I could do well, but I really wasn't. Quite honestly, I couldn't see myself being excited every morning to go do that work. So I looked at a variety of things and did some market research. And for 20 years, my husband's been saying, you need to own your own business. All these people you work for, they're not doing the things you say they should, and we know it'll work, all that stuff. But really, it was, what should I do? What is suitable to me? So in that, I guess starting in '03 or '04, I started dabbling and researching online to find opportunities, to see what was happening out there, what would fit for me, what wouldn't fit, and all this to lead up to finding out that my research skills were my biggest asset. And in early '07, I came across a group of people who are called information professionals, and they do research, online, offline, telephone, everything else for companies. And I tapped into them, started talking with them about how they run their business and everything else. And so in April of '07, I made the decision I would form a company called Search by Burke, and its primary focus would be business research. It's competitive intelligence, market research, industry research, any size business that wants to know information to be able to make a decision. It could be about product, could be about locations, could be about competition, all the details involved in that. And so I nailed it. I said, that's what I'm going to do. And that was April of '07. I was still working for somebody else. So I also figured out, the researcher in me said I needed to, how much is it going to cost me for 1 year, operating costs? How much do I need for 1 year to live on? What are my portion of the expenses in the house? And what kind of tools am I going to need? So what are my startup costs? And I figured that out. And what I had figured out was that I needed to stay at that job 1 more year, 12 months. And in that 12 months, I would be saving back cash from my paychecks for those 12 months. And I would have enough to just open the doors and move forward. And of course, there's other people involved, which means I didn't last the 12 months. I got fired after a few months, and I got a severance package and had everything in place to start. And reason number 2 why I hadn't started the business before was absolute stark terror. All of a sudden, I started thinking too much, and I started thinking about, what if it doesn't work? So I got the idea, and I made the decision in April of '07. I got fired October 29th of '07, and I started the business June of '08. That tells you that it took a lot of butt kicking from my husband, from other business people, from people who just knew that I could do this, to convince me that one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to start the business that's going to succeed, or you're not going to start the business and you don't succeed. Yeah, because if you don't do anything, nothing happens, and therefore you're going to run through all your savings. You're going to sit there and wonder what would have happened if. So that's exactly how it happened.
I hear that, and I know one of the things that got me to start my business was not wanting what would have happened if I'd have done that? So I jumped into it myself just because, why not? Yeah, I'm familiar with that. So in those last several years, you're doing pretty good now. What would you say had been the biggest challenge you had to overcome outside of just getting started, once you were started?
Well, we have to put in here that the first big challenge hit in September of '08, and that was the financial crisis. You see, when I started my business in June of '08, I started with a new client doing business research, brought in some other new clients. The first client, of whom is still with me today, is in the home care industry, but everybody else was in the finance industry. So literally September of '08, no phone calls, no emails were answered. I could not reach any of my clients. I wasn't getting inquiries from clients. Everything literally went dead. I'd never been so dead in my life, you know. And what had happened is most of the clients I was working with were either laid off themselves or their very small businesses were shut down because they were tied to the financial structure, the financial industry. So what started happening was about October, November of '08, I started getting inquiries, and we're only talking one or two, which would have normally been 100 or more, one or two, and then it grew, into January of '09, where I was getting calls from them saying, what are we going to do? We need to get up and running again. So the first challenge I had was, how am I going to help these clients stay in business when all I'm offering right now is research? They know they need to do something. They pretty much know it needs to be online. They just don't know how to do it themselves. So I was flexible enough to say, you know what, I've been online since '95. There was a time I built websites. I know email marketing. I know all about internet marketing. This is your best bet. Let's start utilizing what you already have, build on it, and let's keep you in business. So my first challenge was, how flexible can I be? Because if I had not made the decision to flip my business to become an internet marketing agency for businesses, I would have shut down. So in March of '09, I made the official turnaround that the primary focus of the business is online marketing. Secondary is the research side. The second challenge from that point forward has been and continues to be my own mindset. It is the idea that I know what I'm going to do. I have the vision in front of me. I will not be distracted, and oh my, I'm distracted. There's a nice, pretty, shiny thing over here that looks like it's going to be more fun. And getting back on track and saying, no, you have to stay focused. Or because me and my team are doing the same things a lot, because it's what's successful for our clients and it's what's successful for my business, by doing the same things, sometimes in my mind, it looks like things are getting stale. So the challenge in that mindset is, I'm not marketing to me. I am not my customer. The challenge is to always be thinking from the customer, from the client point of view. And that can be difficult.
Oh, most definitely. I know. I've run into that myself. Things are going great, all of a sudden things fall. And I just had a call this morning with some of my clients where we were talking about the biggest challenge in business is not the business. It's not finding business. It's not the financial stuff. 9 times out of 10, it's winning the mental game in business. So that's a tremendous sort of thing to overcome, and it never stops. We always have to be on guard for that mental game, I've noticed. That's tremendous. So, through that challenge, actually you mentioned in there that looking at the business, the way you had it set up originally, and having to switch suddenly to something else you didn't anticipate. Do you find that common for some businesses, or you think it was just you that had to suddenly change your entire business to meet what the market demanded of you?
I think that those businesses that are on the small level, under $500,000 a year, those businesses that have survived to this point through the recession did what I did. I believe that those businesses that weren't able to respond to the marketplace, the economy, and their customers, be it something as simple and as difficult to do as completely changing the customer base, those that weren't able to turn and be flexible aren't in existence anymore.
Mm. Definitely can see that too. That flexibility in business is so important. So for you, as you saw those changes start to happen, what were probably your top one or top two actions you actually did to make that change and flip for you?
That one's tough. I'm trying to understand really what it is you're asking.
Um,
So I'm presented with clients that are asking for something I don't offer, but I can do, and I can offer. So what happened was they started asking for these things. I started doing a few of them because it was only ones and twos. I built a website or two. I helped put together an email autoresponder campaign. And then more requests were coming in of how can you help us? And I started sending some messages out of I think I can help you. And while I did that, I realized I was going to have to change my team because suddenly my team of researchers wasn't needed anymore. I needed to have a team that could do the things that I was physically doing and don't need to do as the business owner. So that was another challenge, was to bring in people as needed to handle the clients and the tactics and the physical things doing stuff, where I became the project manager and the business owner.
ah, so then a couple actions in there. One you mentioned were phone calls and emails saying, hey, there's an opportunity here. Why don't I reach out and see what happens? So networking almost, using some of those tools and going, hey, I think I can help you with that. The other one you mentioned was actually looking at your team and going, ooh, my business team doesn't actually support this new model, so let me change. So very two strong actions in there that allowed you to be successful. That's great. So, as we kind of round out our interview here, if you had to boil down your entire last several years in business to maybe one or two tidbits of information that you say, hey, if you're going to start a business, here's two things that will make you successful and help you out. What would you say those two things would be?
I can say definitively that one thing for certain has kept me going through today and will make me continue to make me successful and help me to reach my goals for 2015 and beyond. And that is surrounding myself with people who care about my success. I don't have a specific mentor or specific coach, but I have 2 to 3 people that I tap into regularly. Just had a phone call this morning with one where we both did an update. She updated me on what's happening with her business, asked for a little guidance on where she should go in one instance. And then it was my turn. I gave her my update. This is what's happening. I'm really hung up on this particular aspect. I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to go. She asked a few questions. She's a respected colleague. She asked a few questions, and then she said, Charlene, your best bet is to do this, this, and this. And I think you're going to be on track for being in control and in charge of that piece. So, I heard about business advisory boards, especially for a single business owner. I'm not a partnership with anybody. I'm not... a part of mastermind groups. I facilitate 2 of them myself. I attend like a CEO roundtable. I belong to a group like that physically once a month. But I have to tell you that the biggest value that I have gotten is I have trusted colleagues, people who are interested in my personal and professional success. And I met them through business networking events. One I was on this morning, actually, I met through my husband. His business had done business for her, and he says, you've got to meet her. Well, we met, and then we were just friends at first. And when I was hung up a couple of years into my own business, I called her and said, I'm not sure what I should do next. Can you have some coffee? And from that point forward, she has been an advocate of mine. So, there's formal relationships that I'm a big advocate for, especially if somebody doesn't have access to people like I do right now. And I see nothing wrong. Well, I pay for the once a month that I go to, where there is a paid moderator who makes sure the conversation stays where it should and we get the answers we need for our individual businesses. The value of having a coach that comes in, that third eye, that says, you know, this is what's happening, helps get you on track. Let's get you going here so you can meet your goals. You can't beat that. Nobody that I have read autobiographies, regular biographies, I've watched documentaries, I'm on YouTube like a lot looking for successful people, and every single one of them has said that they did not do it alone. That doesn't mean that I had to be in partnership with somebody. It meant that I had to rely and trust on the judgment of others to keep me moving forward. And every successful person that I've seen has that.
Oh, that's tremendous advice right there. I know I did an interview a couple weeks ago, and his big piece was network, 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 find people, talk to people. I know for myself, having my own coach, just talked to him yesterday, and it's like sometimes I really hate dreading the phone call, but gosh, does he help me through some stuff, helps me win that mental game. So that's tremendous advice. So if you're looking to go into business, looking to start a business, or just dabbling with an idea about a business, find people, start meeting people, get that trusted group of advisors. I know a lot of chambers do BOAB groups, business owner advisory boards. There's a lot of help out there. Call me, call Charlene. Her information, her website, of course, be down there in the description of this video. So give her a ring, reach out. Most business owners will not hesitate to have a cup of coffee with somebody. When they have a chance, they will sit down and talk to you and help you out. So great, great advice there, Charlene. Don't try it by yourself. It will not work. I personally think if you try to run a business by yourself, you will fail miserably. So wonderful advice, Charlene. Thank you for interviewing this morning. I appreciate it. I think it'll be a great help for everyone who watches this video, and do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I've enjoyed talking with you. It's good to see you again. It's been a while since we've done the video thing. Hopefully we can do this again. I might give you a call and have an interview on my side next time. How's that?
Sounds great, Charlene. You have a great time. Bye.